Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy and governance. I am Hamza Idris. Nigeria at independence in 1960 practiced parliamentary system of government which has a prime minister and a ceremonial head of state. The system which is being practiced in other climes, however, did not survive beyond 1966 in Nigeria when military seized power amidst rising tension over regional politics anchored on ethnicity and perceived corruption and parochial sentiments. And with the return to civil rule in the Second Republic, precisely in 1983 with the presidential system of government, Nigeria has witnessed at least two other types of governance, presidential and military dictatorships, with series of transitions culminating in today's 25 years of uninterrupted civil rule since 1999. However, there is a renewed push for a return to the parliamentary system by some Nigerian lawmakers who are averse to the challenges associated with current presidential system being operated in Nigeria, citing unbearable cost of governance, corruption, and excessive influence according to those in power by the system. It is against this backdrop we engage one of the proponents of the return to the parliamentary system, Honorable Abdussamad Dasuki. He's a member of the House of Representatives representing Kebe Tambuwal Federal Constituency of Sokoto State. He's also the House Committee Chairman on Marine and Blue Economy, Shipping Services. Honorable, thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank you, Hamza.
We're happy having you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, but before the conversation, here are some tidbits. The Kano State House of Assembly has commenced the process of amending the Kano State Emir's Appointment and Deposition Law amidst call for the return of the deposed 14th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi. The House resolved to amend the law after the majority leader and member representing Dala constituency, Hussein Dala, moved the motion during plenary on Tuesday. The Litros reports that the law was first amended in 2019 during the rift between then Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje and the deposed Emir. The first amendment had broken Kano Emirate into 5 different emirates with the creation of Kano, Karaye, Gaya, and Bichi Emirates and the appointment of first-class emirs for the new emirates, eventually culminated in the deposition of the then Emir of Kano. And then retired police officers of Nigeria under the contributory pension scheme on Tuesday stormed the National Assembly in Abuja in protest over several months of unpaid pensions. The charities, representing various state chapters, lamented the severe hardship faced due to failure of the National Pension Commission to pay their entitlements. The retired police officers are urging the federal government to remove them from the contributory pension scheme. And this is not the first time police retirees have protested. In September 2021, they marched in Abuja from the 27 states of the Federation demanding their pension payments. And finally, on tidbits, bandits in their numbers reportedly attacked Zorok village in Bashar district of Wase, local government area of Plateau State, killing more than 40 persons. According to residents of the community, the incident occurred around 5 p.m. on Monday when people were going about their normal activities. The residents said they could not immediately report the incident due to the poor communication network in the area. According to one of them, Shafi Sambo, who is a youth leader in the area, who also confirmed the incident to Daily Trust, the bandits arrived at the community on motorcycles with 2 people on a bike carrying sophisticated weapons and started shooting sporadically. Residents of the village have fled to neighboring communities for cover. And it is now time to take a short break. When we return, the conversation with the Honorable Member of the House of Representatives commences. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, and Honorable, once again, welcome to Trust TV studio. You've seen our tidbits. The first one is on Kano.
Yeah.
The members of the State House of Assembly, they want to amend it. And from all indication, according to pundits, they want to bring back the deposed Emir of Kano. What is your take on this?
Well, I think I'm yet to see the details of what has happened in the Kano State House of Assembly, but it's unfortunate, generally there's a lot of interference in our traditional institutions, across the state. I think it's high time we look at it And I'm happy that the Right Honorable Speaker made mention in one of our programs not long ago that in the next amendment of the Constitution, we are going to look at the traditional institutions. We need to look at our history and see, you know, we can't be every election there's one issue on the traditional institutions or the other. So I think politics is doing a lot of damage to our traditional institution, which we need to look at it comprehensively and see how we can rise to that occasion.
Of course, just before we came into the studio, I stumbled on a video of Musa Ilyasu Konkoso. He's the Sarkin Yakin Karai. He said it's like politicians have reduced the traditional institution to even 10-word system. Because who knows? Well, if this governor now, you know, change the dynamics, when you have another governor, he too will now say, okay, let's go back to the order.
I haven't seen the picture, but it's unfortunate, you know, the way, you know, politicians are getting into the traditional institution.
Yes.
It's not good for us. It's not good for our society, for our history. That's not good. And it's something that the earlier the politicians stop interfering into the issue of traditional institutions. Let's see how we can promote, you know, these traditional institutions, because this is our history. Yeah. So
okay. Now in Abuja, hundreds of retired police officers.
Yeah.
You know, they came agitating that they should be paid their pension, and this is coming in the wake of plans by the federal government to dip its hands, you know, in pension savings amounting to trillions of naira in the name of infrastructure development. What is your take on this?
Well, with regards to the police, it's actually surprising, you know, after all the reforms and the assurances that we've always had that these monies are in safe hands. So it's surprising for people who are there to serve us, more especially, you know, police and members of the armed forces. You know, I'm surprised, honestly, but I'm happy that, you know, the right steps are taken to make sure that this is being rectified as soon as possible. And with regards to what you made mention earlier, I heard the Minister of Finance saying that what was reported is not so. Maybe they have a rethink and decided to, you know, take back what they had wanted to do. But in the House of Representatives, I believe there is an investigation that is going on to just ascertain the true situation of what was said and what was going to be used by the government.
Of course, they are also calling that they should be removed from the contributory pension scheme so that maybe their money will be a bit safer. But are you comfortable? It's like this government on every decision taken, they don't really chew it. Nigerians must have to agitate and say, no, you are wrong. You have to go back and have a rethink. Is it good for us as a government now that every policy, you know, comes with challenges, and when you look at it critically, realize that Nigerians are on the right side rather than policy makers?
Well, I think from the very first day the government came in, I think there was a very wrong decision that was taken, even if we believe that subsidy was going to go. And we know the last administration had not provided for subsidy in the third and the fourth quarter of last year. But I think just on inauguration, just outrightly said, we know we are not going to have so. And today we are paying a heavy price for that. And after that, a couple of policies have happened that government had to reverse. I remember the last one, I think, is with regards to expatriate quota. I remember it was a ceremony that was well celebrated with the president. And a few days later, then it was reversed. I saw the cyber law
exactly.
as well. The same thing, a few days it was reversed. So I think the government needs to sit up. I mean, there are policies that you need to sit down and look at the implications, and more especially in view of the fact that I said removal of the subsidy, we're here to recover. You know, people are feeling the heat is having its own toll, or the people, inflation is on another level. And like, you know, the hunger, poverty, we are politicians, we are elected. The feedback that is coming back has been very bad in the last 1 year. Yeah.
Okay, and finally on our tidbits, Plateau, it boiled yesterday. Bandits, 5 p.m., we can say daylight of sorts. They stormed a community and killed over 40 people. In fact, figures have, you know, risen to about 50 now.
Mala Hamza, I think my own approach to insecurity, I think it has to change now.
Okay.
The government, National Assembly, and leaders, we need to sit down and say this is what has to be done. You know, it's unfortunate on a daily basis, the number of people that die in Nigeria from insecurity. So I think it's high time we sit down and give it that priority that it deserves. Every life means a lot.
All right.
So we need to do something differently. We can't sit down and assure and things are getting worse. You know, a lot of resources, I remember, you know, when we came in 2023, the first supplementary budget, the chunk of it was for security, you know. Then now back into the main budget of the 2024, the same thing. So, but, you know, every day is getting worse. You know, I saw a report in Abuja yesterday, today Plateau, yesterday Sokoto, night. Every day there's something that is coming up. So I think we need to sit back and say, look, gentlemen, let's come together, irrespective of party. Security is our topmost priority. How do we handle these things?
All right. And then with this, we can seamlessly now transit into the main topic of the day, parliamentary system. You are one of the proponents of this idea. I want to ask whether your group are really conscious of the factors that led to the collapse of this system in the 60s. Are you really conscious of that?
Of course, what happened?
Okay, what happened?
You know, that's it. We need to ask ourselves.
Okay.
You know, what happened in 1966? Just after about 5 years, or because it was January 1966, which was a little over 5 years after 1960 independence,
yes.
October. So what happened? Young officers from a part of the country came and killed our leaders. Why? You know, we had different kind of reasons, but what was the justification for that? And let's take back to what these leaders have achieved. You are from the northern part of the country, I'm from the northern part of the country, but I've been to the southern part of the country and I've stayed in the southern part of the country as well. For example, you go to the southwest, as even today, they are promoting Chief Obafemi Awolowo because of the foundation he laid for them. In the northern part of the country, up till now, who are we celebrating? We don't have a hero like the Premier, Ahmadu Bello. All the foundations that were laid was through him. So imagine getting to 60-something years. Is his foundation, and you are telling me in between, you know, that there's something better than, come on, you know, they were leaders that meant well. They were leaders that approach a system where they come, the system that approach come together, look, what is the best for our people, agreed and went and implemented what was good for our people.
But are you saying there is a nexus between the parliamentary system and the achievements
and development? Of course.
But
of course.
I'm sure that
yes.
Parliamentary system provided yes. the room for powerful regions rather than powerful center.
Powerful regions, what does that mean? It's just like as long as Nigeria was getting developed, that was what matters. What are these regions? They belong to the country. All the regions are Nigeria. You develop your region, I develop. At the end of the day, Nigeria was better for it because there was development everywhere. And that is what we're saying. There was transparency, there was accountability, unlike what we have now. That you elect leaders in a system that you don't see leaders 2-3 years, executive. You elect executive that is more than 50% of Abuja. You bring ministers that don't even know what their constituents want, what the people want. That's why we're saying we need to tweak it. We need to do something that is people-oriented. We want a leadership style that leaders are accountable not on a weekly basis, but on a daily basis. We want, for example, where you come to the parliament, we've just spoken about security now. Imagine today in the parliament, we had motions of insecurity. There is hardly a day that passes by that we don't have one motion of killing and having a minute silence. So if the leader is there on a daily basis, he's answering what has transpired, if he's not living up to expectation on his own, he'll take back his seat and go back to his parliamentary seat.
But why do you think the presidential system is not offering such interventions?
Well, that is what I can ask that one, you can ask me, but the good thing is that you and I have believed it's not offering what is required because leaders are not answerable. You don't see these leaders. They use third party to communicate after the election. That's what we want to stop. We want to reduce the cost of governance. We want to promote accountability. We want to promote transparency. These are the things we are promoting.
But if you are talking about reducing cost of governance,
yes.
Many believe that parliamentary will not in any way reduce cost of governance. What will reduce cost of governance is maybe coming to unicameral legislature. Why are you not fighting for unicameral legislature?
With the parliamentary and the presidential, you cannot compare it in terms of cost. Why? Majority of the ministers, the chunk of the ministers, if not all the ministers, coming from the parliament. That is what was practiced, and that is what some of us are proposing with amendments.
Okay, amendment in what area, for instance?
Beautiful. If you look at it, what we are saying, we are saying a homegrown system of government, which is something like parliamentary. We are not saying we want the textbook parliamentary system that is practiced, for example, in British, or the one that is practiced in Australia, or the one that is practiced anywhere in the world. We want to have our unique homegrown, a system that is Nigerian, that looks at our peculiarities and make sure that all those are put into consideration. And we make leaders answerable all the time to the people. We want to make leaders to serve. Not people say, that's not what we want. That's why we said, let's make it a homegrown. And if you look at it in the last couple of months, we have emphasized a lot on advocacy. We need leaders, we need like minds, we need people to understand what we want to achieve.
But I know when you visited Chief Olusegun Obasanjo,
yes,
he made mention that he isn't really for the parliamentary, but he wants another entirely different system of politics.
He belongs to us. It's the same thing. He is saying what he told us is the Western liberal democracy has failed us, which is right. On that we agree with him very well.
When I interviewed Alhaji Tanko Yakasa in February,
yes,
I interviewed him here in Abuja. He said we should go to French and
is a hybrid.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
because it is hybrid. You pick
yes,
parliamentary and presidential, but then they domesticated it. How can you domesticate that kind of system? I want to ask you now, assuming you are picking it, how can you domesticate it in a country with 300 or more ethnic nationalities?
I think I'm happy that you mentioned one of our leaders, Alhaji Tanko Yakasa. You know, we are yet to see him, but I've read what he said.
Okay.
But that means they believe something is wrong with what is happening. Even those that were in First, Second, Third Republic and now Fourth Republic, they believe there's something wrong with what is going on now. So we are not saying we have the final solution, but what we're saying, let's create a platform where there's consensus building. Let's agree on what is best for us as Nigerians. But the beauty of it is that everybody believes that it's a matter of it's a matter of time before something happens. The rate at which we're going. You believe it, I believe it, that there's something wrong. If we continue on this path, only God knows. Accountability, zero. Transparency, zero. You know, answerable leaders to be answerable. It's not there. Now, so how do we get it better? How do we make it better?
Okay, how will you manage the inconsistencies inherent in parliamentary system? For instance, look at what happened in the UK in the last 3 years. How many prime ministers they changed? You know, at the slightest provocation, if you lose certain quota, you now lose everything.
Yeah.
Now the ruling party takes over. Do you think that will actually flourish in Nigeria?
Hamza,
yes,
there is no perfect democracy and there is no perfect way to do it, but there's one of the best ways that is going to achieve results. There's a way that will promote transparency. There's a way that will bring development. These are things we want. There are basics that are required that needs to be discussed with leaders. Let the people know what leaders are discussing on their behalf. That is what we want to say. That's what we are trying to bring, and that is what we want to achieve. We cannot do it alone. It's over 3 months since we had the first reading, but we are taking our time to enlighten and educate, the Nigerian people. We need to be, and the beauty of it is a lot of people are buying into this idea that, look, we create a platform where people get elected. Once you're elected in the executive position, then forget it. Then tomorrow, all sorts of barriers are put in. To see the people, to do what is even expected to the people, is not there.
Now, beyond having the parliamentary system or presidential, it is believed and it has been established that it's not about the system we practice, but about us. Do you agree with that?
Well, we have our own issues. People have said it that there's a Nigerian factor in this, but equally, there is a very good Nigerian factor in Nigerians, because Nigerians have excelled everywhere they've gone to in this world. You can't take that away. We have exceptional Nigerians, and even here in the country, we have exceptional Nigerians. And a good number of them are willing to come together to achieve what we want to achieve. Even with the factor, you must get a platform that is going to drive you to what you want to achieve. What is it? Progress, development. These are the things you want to see. You want healthcare, you want good roads, you want security. You just made mention of security. These are the issues. Why hasn't it been resolved even when you have the strongest of the strongest presidents in the last how many years? Why are we where we are? Every day the opinion is yesterday is better than today. And we sit down and fold our arms.
And that's why people are saying it's not about whether we are practicing presidential,
Yes.
but about attitude.
No, but the system,
we are unable to change
Hamza,
our attitude.
The system has a way. For example, you just made mention of government some assaulting in the last 1 year. In the parliamentary system, that will be very difficult because things will be exhausted, they'll be debated. They will be debated. And after debating these things, we will say this is what is best for us. Then, then is not one person, it's majority of the parliamentarians have taken a decision because they are in tune with reality. They are connecting to their people. There is feedback mechanism. They know the thinking. That is it. So
and from what we read, Honorable, in the 60s, you see people in Southwest being more attached, being more accountable, and being respectful to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. In the Southeast, you have Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. In the North, you have Ahmadu Bello Sardauna, which made Tafawa Balewa to greater extent maybe weak as far as leadership is concerned. Don't you think we will go back to that tendency by the time you now have regional champions with the coming of the parliamentary? Because whether you like it or not, you will go back to the grassroots. You will have local champions who will now amalgamate from their cocoon to the center.
Hamza, we are not promoting regional politics.
Okay.
Our proposal is to retain states. That is our proposal. For example, we have 3 bills. We are of the opinion that the state assembly, there shouldn't be a governor should be elected from his own primary constituency and he gets to the state assembly. Governor is the first among equals in the assembly.
In the State House of Assembly?
Yes, that is our proposal. Okay. Just the same way you have in the local governments, and it will interest you to know that some
the councillors now...
you don't have any you don't have any chairman's election. All you do is you elect the councillors. They know the needs, the demands of their people. They are expected to stay with the people on a daily basis. They come and form and have who is the leader amongst themselves. And they run the local government based on what comes to them, how they utilize their IGL, and they go back and give feedback to their people. The chairman is only a first among equal. It's the same thing that we propose for the governor. Governor, in our own proposal, is that governor emerges from the state assembly, and that is retained. So he's the first among equal. That is what is our proposal. It's not about the regional politics.
And then he select commissioners from
from
members.
You can have commissioners from members, but some of the opinion that give a governor an opportunity to add maybe 1 or 3 technical
from outside.
But you see, like I said, it's a work in progress.
Because that's the question I will have asked. That now, if you reduce everything to election, meaning that at the local government level, you have councillors, from among them, you have the chairman. At the state level, you have members of the House of Assembly. From among them, you have governor.
That's right.
Then at the National Assembly, you have members of the Senate or whatever. Then
the Parliament, the Prime Minister.
You have the Prime Minister. Meaning you have excluded a large chunk of the society. You will load it over them.
The society elected the people to go there.
But they are politicians. You know that if we are to go for election now, Honorable, you will defeat me. Because I'm just a journalist.
No, but you see, it's not about that.
You're a politician. You know how to manipulate your way to have your way.
We need to be deliberate because now we are getting leaders that are accountable, leaders that will go and talk on behalf of their people. They are seeing them on a daily basis. You need to go and speak up. Whoever is elected to represent has the tendency of becoming a prime minister. Whoever is elected has the tendency of likelihood of becoming a minister. So nobody will want to send a charlatan to go and represent him. So the tendency of being deliberate in bringing leaders that have what it takes to deliver is going to be much higher. And if we are not deliberate about bringing leaders that are there to serve the people, then we'll continue to be where we are, and only God knows where we end.
I know while in school, quite a number of factors came up as to those things that led to the collapse of the parliamentary, like these ethnic and regional divisions. You know, you have the inadequate institutions, that is robust judiciary, you know, and even the civil service. We are still having issues with that. So many issues around the judiciary, so many issues around the civil service. In fact, some believe that we don't even have civil service in Nigeria. Don't you think you are putting the horse before the cart, instead of maybe trying to see that you have a robust judiciary and, you know, a diligent civil service?
Well, you see, if you looked at our own proposal, what we did is that let's start from the local governments. And that is why we propose, why don't we have 2027 elections.
Okay.
Local government election goes together with even the general elections. And let's give them full autonomy in the local governments, because the whole country is under one local government or the other. Let's see the real parliamentary system in the local governments. Let's see how it develops. Then we have enough window. You know, there are a lot of laws that needs to be amended before this has been implemented. Then we are targeting 2031, then that's when you can move it up to the state level and possibly to the national level. But let's look at it, because it's been a long time since this has been implemented. But I can assure you, if we're able to achieve what we want and start this from the local government, if the local governments have their autonomy and we observe for 2-3 years, you know, I can assure you more than 90% of Nigerians will say this is the way forward, because what we want is people to, that true representation, leaders to serve us, leaders to always be there for us, leaders to look at our healthcare, leaders to look at our security. Those are the things we are requesting for.
And there is this propensity for winner takes all.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria, and even in parliamentary systems, you know, because by the time your party forms the...
You have coalition. It's very difficult, because decision making are taken together with you, unlike now. If you look at it, for example, how many places in the world do you have what happened in Nigeria in 2023 elections? You know, combined, you know, those that lost election, they are even more than the person that won the election. So, and they have nothing, it's zero. So this is even where you say winner takes all. This is it. So this is not, we need to see how, you know, winner takes all attitude is taken out. But like I said, is the proposal. We here don't have the final solution. We want as much as possible discussion. Recently, you know, in the last 10 days or less than 2 weeks, we've decided to put an essay competition for the younger generation. What is that essay competition? We want to bring students in Nigerian universities that are across the globe. Wherever you are, write an essay that you think parliamentary is good for us. And you know, it will interest you. I think we are getting to 1,000 essays.
Entries so far.
Yes. So the whole idea is to get some of the best essays to come to Abuja here. We intend to have our first national discourse on July 1st.
Okay.
And some of this young generation, because there has to be this intergenerational, you know, collaboration.
Okay.
Then we see how it can be taken back to the universities, you know, and from there we have ambassadors that will take it up everywhere.
And finally, yes. I want you to answer this in less than 10 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. Will you advocate for, you know, the sacking of one of the legislatures, Senate, House of Reps? Which one will you prefer?
Well, you want the People's House to retain.
Okay, so the Senate should go.
Of course.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Abdussamad Dasuki, member representing Kebe Tambuwal Federal Constituency and one of the champions of parliamentary system, chairman of the House Committee on Maritime, for coming to the program, and we hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much, Hamza. I really appreciate it.
And viewers, we'll take a short break now. When we return, the program continues with another guest. Stay with us.